Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be the Empire led by Solasora facing off against the Kislevites, who are going to be helmed by Boss Toss here in the Creeping Swamp, and it looks like a bit of a powder duel. We do have some Free Company Militia, Hochland long rifles, facing off against Little Grom, and of course all the hybrid shooting of Kislev. Now for the Empire Army, it is going to be a vanguard of Free Company Militia, which I do like. Moving up, grabbing the objectives quickly is always a good thing in domination mode. And Marcus Wolfhart going to be up in the trees as well. So if some of the Kislev skirmish cav get a little bit too close to Marcus, he could net them down and maybe have the Free Company Militia in tandem with his own bow shots do some substantial damage. But looks like he's going to be firing right away, exposing his position, but should be able to get some kills on those models. For the rest of the army here in the backfield, it's going to be Spearmen just defending state troopers, and they are going to be holding it down for the Hochland long rifles and the Erge Jaeger Corps. So these guys are pretty cool. They can shoot out of the woods very effectively, and yeah, they do a lot of damage if they're allowed to kind of shoot. But Kislev does have good diving tools, right? You have those very scary dervishes, which are unbreakable for 15 seconds when their leadership breaks. So very excellent at getting into the secondary, but that's kind of why you see characters like Marcus and also a Shadow Wizard with Melkos. I assume there's going to be Melkos here, yep, to slow down the speed, to let your Empire Knights screen them out. For the Kislev army up in the front, it's going to be skirmish cav galore. We got horse archers, and that's always a good idea to grab the objectives. What's really nice about horse archers is they're actually pretty good in combat. They have 26, 24, 28. So they're kind of like similar to, like, let's say like a Dark Rider in their combat prowess. Of course, they don't have shields and are, I think, a little bit weaker in the stat line, but you can use them to dive, weak missile units like crossbows and these Hochland long rifles and things like that. Boss Toss also rocking an Ice Witch, who's going to be here with the Icebane's Kiss, and the rest of the army here is going to be Armored Kossars with Zargard and a little Grom. Ooh, interesting Zargard choice. So, a bit of a tough catch here. Look at this big ambush out of the woods. Marcus Wolfhart able to get a fat net, and we do see the Horse Archers get netted down by the Sons of Sigmar, and they're going to be taking big casualties while the Powder continues to do good work. So that opening, very, very good for Solasora. Now, looking at the objectives, we do see Objective 2 is going to be taken by the Empire. Really good cast there by Boss Toss. Boss Toss able to get a beautiful Ice Maiden's Kiss right down the pipe on those Free Company Militia, so kind of returning the favor a little bit. I assume Kislev is probably going to be able to get its clutches on Objective 3 using its Zargard and Armored Kossars to push off the Empire. Meanwhile, the Empire is going to be trying to set up a gun line here. So we do see the Hochland long rifles opening up, and what is the Little Grom going to be shooting? Now, I'm a little bit nervous about the Little Grom positioning. It is getting a little bit danger close. It probably had a target on... yeah, the slope on this map is very, very scary, right? So you can see that the Little Grom is going to be forced back right now, but at least he didn't get like real close and lose it just immediately. That would have been a disaster. But value trading is going a little bit better for the Empire, but now we do see the advantage that Kislev has is in their infantry, as the Free Company Militia and the other Free Company Militia here just get shot to pieces by the Armored Kossars, who are going to be much happier to make that trade. Cav Colin of Winged Lancers, they are going to be eating a lot of crossfire, though. We do see the Erge Jaeger Corps and the Hochland long rifles coming in. Magic, it looks like a Pit of Shades maybe going down back there, as the Winged Lancers do make a glorious charge into combat and start to fold up some of the Free Company Militia here, but there's going to be a response. Ice Maiden's Kiss going down. No, that's actually from Kislev. So they do fold up one of the missile units, but Free Company Militia are very cheap, so these Winged Lancers are going to need to do a lot more. Probably try and find their way into the secondary, but Solasora is really, really on point with this, and this is a sign of a good Empire player, somebody who really knows how to defend their backfield. And the Winged Lancers are going to be eating a big Empire Knight charge. Now, this objective is in the clutches of Sigmar, but not for too much longer. We do have some flanking on the outside, as there are going to be some Kislevite warriors looking to penetrate into the secondary, but swordsmen stand at the ready to greet them. Horse archers have reformed the ranks, and Little Grom has gotten back and is now shooting pretty happily. And Little Grom getting a direct hit right there on that engineer. Certainly need to see some big value plays like that for the Kislevites to kind of get their way back into this game here. It's going to be a tricky pickle, but it looks like this point is going to be going to Kislev, as Empire does pull a value lead of about 2,000 to 1,200. So I would say that's a pretty accurate representation. Another Ice Maiden's Kiss going down there from Boss Toss. Not a bad one. Does manage to hit the Spearmen, but some of the Sigmarites in the front, the Armored Kossars, are getting worn down. And the Hochland long rifle is trying to find an angle with which they can get some good shots. And one of them does find an opening here. And they are going to be shooting up and through the tree line there, while the other Hochland long rifles, the Erge Jaeger Corps, are going to be making their way up the hill, working with the terrain and the slopes on this map. But look at this, man, the Kislevites have pulled the value back. A lot of the Empire troopers here, and these Empire Knights kind of got shot to pieces, it looked like, and maybe ground down by some of the state troopers. Meanwhile, on the other side, Winged Lancers do emerge, and they manage to stuff some of the advancing swordsmen. But The question is, are they going to be able to get to those long rifles, which are really the problem? Oh, and Little Grom getting a big pick on the Empire Engineer as well, so nice catch from both sides. We do see a net going down from Marcus Wolfhard, but thankfully for the Winged Lancers, they are kind of obstructed behind the trees a little bit, so it's not going to be quite as devastating as it could have. But some of the State Troopers do arrive and will be dragging down some of the Winged Lancers, who don't have the best combat stats outside of the charge, right? 26 and 26 isn't great. Where they really shine is with their glorious charge and on the charge. So they're going to want to pull back right here, reset, and send in the Armored Kossars, while the Kossovite Dervishes are going to be slamming in to try and block up this massive brick of State Troopers. Little Grom shot from downtown, and this Engineer is getting cooked pretty good. Negative 46 leadership. I don't think it'll shatter, but definitely going to be running. So the Empire Engineer is offline. Now, back on the point, we do see a bit of a concave here with the Hochland long rifles as well as the Free Company militia. A lot of light powder fire going into the Kislev formation, which is very, very trapped up here. But the Kislevites do have some good grinding potential, especially with the Zargard. Zargard are going to be pretty nasty. And look at this. We do actually see the Grey Wizard here. He was getting hunted by the Snow Leopard summon from the Ice Witch, and he also got quite low. So that's a very, very tough one right there. Marcus Wolfhard continuing to try and snipe the Ice Witch wherever he can. And Kislev still stuffed back. And if the Empire can maintain the status quo, that's going to be really big, right? Because if they just keep evenly trading and it's a 2-to-1 objective situation, then Kislev's going to be, the Empire's going to be super happy to maintain that. Whereas Kislev needs to change the momentum, get some good picks, and continue to try and scrap back on value. Getting that snipe on the Empire Engineer was very good, but they're going to need to do more than that. So Empire Troopers piercing into the secondary. Dervishes sacrificed to the Spearmen, so that's pretty unfortunate. Relatively not expensive, but, not a cheap unit either, being lost to a Spearman unit, while the Armored Kossars, of course, a very, very powerful unit. They have 32 and 40 for their combat stats with high armor values. Armored Kossars are going to be able to dominate State Troopers. A great sword unit would, of course, beat an Armored Kossar, but, they're still pretty damn durable, right? Looking on the other side, we do have the double dervishes and the winged lancers coming in. Melkos is one of the better spells in the game if you guys are a little bit newer against cav faction. So anybody who's going to be rocking any sort of heavy cav, Melkos is your breadwinner. And now it looks like Kislev is going to be going for an alpha strike, but they're actually getting Last Samurai and Marcus with a clutch net. Man, the nets this game have been so freaking good. And that's going to be cooking these Kossovite dervishes as they do get engaged by state troopers and the very expensive winged lancers. They're 1,000 gold now after some of the nerfs they've gotten. Or, it really sucks to lose them to something like this. Zargard are going to be trying to break the missile line, so they're going to be chasing the Ergig Jaeger Corps, meanwhile being shot in the back, but the objective is going to be taken by the Sons of Sigmar as Demogryph Knights with Halberds coming in. All right, one of my favorite units in the game, one of my favorite units in tabletop as well. Demis are freaking awesome. And they're going to be ripping it up. So you are going to be seeing, good armor-piercing damage against these armored Kossars. Despite being halberds, they still do have really good weapon strength and really good armor-piercing, so they're going to be generally good against most of these Kislev units. So value trading is even, but Kislev has really held off the objectives. Granted, a nice pick here with the tenacity of the Kislevites. It's probably going to be able to finish off the Ergig Jaeger Corps, and that is what's going to be keeping Boss Toss in the game in terms of value. And for the first time, he does actually pass the Empire in terms of overall value. Little Grom ripping nice shots. Actually, another one. Man, that Little Grom probably has a ton of value right now. It actually direct hit on Marcus Wolfhard. But the Demogryph Knights with Halberds might be a big problem, right? We don't see any Oath Brothers of Tor, or Little Grom is going to be the best bet. If Little Grom can stay online, and yeah, I like the Streltsy pick. Streltsy's really nice here. They're not great against masses of state troopers, but they're, I actually played a game, I forget who I was practicing with. I think it was Stinger. So Stingers and I had a really good practice session. We played 4 games. Unfortunately, I didn't save the replays. I was a potato. It was late at night. But yeah, he was really having some good performances with the Streltsy in our Warriors of Chaos game. But yeah, they're doing good work, and they are mowing down the state troopers. Might be able to get the Spearman off the Little Grom, but the Little Grom needs to come online. If the Kislevites want a chance, it's going to need to deal with the Demogryph Knights. Otherwise, the Demogryph Knights are just going to rampage through all these winged lancers, and of course, they need to avoid the Kislevite warriors, but that shouldn't be too difficult. So on the high ground objective here, looks like Kislev is going to be wrestling this one back. Meanwhile, in the middle, we do see the Sons of Sigmar holding it, but Kislev does have a presence there. And on the outside, are we going to be seeing a comeback from Boss Toss? He's massively behind on points, right? Massively. So he really needs to get these objectives and stop the bleeding to give himself a little bit more time. This game is very, very close. We do see a second wave of state troopers coming in, so Spearmen being called in from reserves, while the Demogryph Knights with Halberds are going to be surging onto the objective to try and maintain that while they can, but it still is going to be flipping to Kislev. And how is Kislev going to be dealing with these demis? That is going to be the problem. So where's the Little Grom? Little Grom is here. It looks like it does have its sight set on the Demogryph Knights or the Wizard. Okay, trying to snipe the Grey Wizard isn't a bad idea. Melkots is a very cheap spell, so getting rid of that Wizard is great because he probably still has Winds of Magic and easily has a couple more Melkots to cast. In the middle, Marcus Wolfhard going to be getting his hands dirty. He's not a great melee combatant, but he's still a legendary lord, so he's going to be able to go fisticuffs with some of the Kossars and maybe finish them off. We'll see. They are unbreakable by our blood, And right now, are they going to be stabilizing by Our Blood is Worn Off? And they're at 18 leadership. So yeah, Kislev leadership is very, very impressive. Those guys are not messing around. We do see the long rifles coming back, so they did stabilize. Demograph Knights getting a sweeping attack into the Kislevite warriors, and it looks like the comeback attempt was thwarted to an extent. A lot of the Kislev momentum has been broken, although the Streltsy here are doing some nice work. Getting a pick on Marcus Wolfhart would be really, really good for the Kislevites because it would lower the leadership of these state troopers quite considerably, making it a little bit more viable to try and get them off the objectives. On the outside, the Empire Knights did intercept the Horse Archers of Bastos. Empire Knights, of course, with their high armor values of 110, are going to be able to win that fight pretty easily. So the side objective, did it get taken? Looks like Kislev did get that. So Kislev actually does have 2 objectives right now. They actually have the Empire triple capped. All right, very impressive attempt at a comeback here. So Streltsy ripping shots into the Demograph Knights. And this is actually a decent situation for Kislev. They're very beat up. But what's cool about Streltsy is, and why I really like them into like Bretonnia and to Empire and other heavy cav factions, is the fact that they have armor piercing great opens in melee too. So Streltsy are going to be able to fight off heavy cav in melee with their respectable combat stats of 33, 27, and 34 with good AP value. So you can see they're holding their own. Big shot from Little Grom coming in, and the Kislevite warriors do arrive. Now we are at 1,000 points for the Empire, and it looks like Kislev does have a double cap for now, holding on the middle, as the Empire does manage to stabilize the top. So it looks like the double spearmen are able to get that. Empire Knights chasing down some routing Kislev units. And the long rifles are back online, getting a beautiful shot, wasting down those armored Kossars right there as the other long rifles putting steady firepower down into pretty much whatever they can reach. And are these fleeing Kislevites? Those guys are actually fleeing. So let's look at the value right now. About 800 value on the Arrogate Jaeger Corps. Empire Knights chasing down these skirmishers, but should be able to pull back. Although Kislev is doing a good job, kind of doing the Benny Hill moves here, running in circles and dragging these Empire Knights around while maintaining the objectives. Back here, we do have the Hochland long rifles still continuing to shoot. Streltsy look like they're going to be knocked offline here in a moment. Grey Wizard, old Gandalf here, still going strong, sort of. He's got 900 HP, most likely will rally and still be useful. Although Little Grom looks like it's going to be zeroing in. I think it just needs to sit on the Demograph Knight halberds the entire game. A nice shot right there. Man, that took down a whole bunch of demis. But the demis are going to get up there and make sure that the objective is safe for now. So Kislev calling in Winged Lancers. These Winged Lancers are very tattered. But honestly, if they do get the correct charge order, the Winged Lancers should be able to win this 2v1. But it looks like they're going to be wheeling away, getting a rear charge into this Empire Trooper Brick, which is cool. But I don't know how much I like that. Because now they're going to get rear charged by, okay, the Demograph Knights did end up breaking to the Little Grom, so it's not going to be as disastrous and ends up being the correct decision due to the fact that the demis did break. Hochland long rifles still celebrating over here in the woods and, praying and wondering to Sigmar how they're still alive after being charged and run down by Cav several times. They're still going strong. Looking at the point situation, we do see objective number 1 here is going to be owned by the Empire, but it is being stolen by Bastos with his Ice Witch here. Ice Witch, of course, does have 3 capture weight. In the middle, Kislev is holding this one, but a big resurgence from the Empire. Kislev looking a little bit worn down right now. They have some warriors right here. The value trading is very, very even. This is an excellent game. Really, really nice match here. As the Empire Knights come across, slamming into the back of the Kislevite warriors and the other Empire Knights. It looks like they're going to be trying to intercept the Winged Lancers and the Dervishes on the other side. Marcus Wolfhart also in the process of thieving this objective, and he does have some swordsmen coming who are going to be providing very nice capture weight. But overall, it's starting to look very bleak for Kislev. The Little Grom is offline. The Ice Witch isn't going to be quite as impactful as Marcus in the late game since she's probably out of Winds of Magic. Granted, is Marcus still around? He's got to still be around here somewhere. Yeah, he's hanging on to that objective there, but the Ice Witch at the very least is going to grab this point, and some of the Kossovite Dervishes moving up there. But it's just the waves and waves of state troopers are going to be very menacing in terms of capture weight. Collins for the Kislevites are going to be Dervishes and some armored Kossars. Looks like here these Dervishes are going to be hunted down and dealt with. The side objective here, though, is going to be taken by the Empire very easily. Marcus Wolfhart leading his brave state troopers of Sigmar to battle, and they are going to be running down these heavy cav here, or these light cav, excuse me. So the Horse Archers should be pushed off the objective, or at the very least broken to the point where it won't matter. But Empire does get a 1 cap here. They are going to be getting a double cap, and you can see they have a massive points lead, and it's going to be so hard to get them off here with the Grey Wizard and just tons of state troopers coming in, Free Company Militia. Empire Knights are also extremely durable, and, dealing with Empire Knights as Kislev, you have a couple options, Little Grom, Kislevite Warriors, Streltsy, but I'm not seeing any of those on the battlefield, so the amount of time it's going to take to get them out of here is going to be just brutal, right? So looking here, Marcus chilling out on the point. Kislev, yeah, this is kind of a death knell for Kislev, right? You're seeing them call in armored Kossars at this point, which by the time they get to the objective, it's going to be very close to being game over. So I would expect that the Kislevite player here, Bastos, will probably tap out in a second, but this was a really fun game. Really, really cool showcase of how Kislev is certainly a lot more balanced than they used to be. Empire, I think, sitting at 47% win rate, and Kislev is around like 52, 53, so kind of cool to see them in the ballpark. I felt like this game was winnable for either player based on the builds. Like, Kislev was behind, but they had a nice resurgence where they kind of made some ground back with the little Grom. But at the end of the day, the Empire player Solasora, who of course is our recent season champion on Total Tavern, didn't make that many mistakes and had better picks early on. Getting the horse archers with those charges, a couple other little like micro engagements like that, keeping the long rifles functional for a long time, I think we're able to win them the game. 1,400 value, 1,000 value here. Marcus was good with his nets. Engineer got shut down. Melkoth Caster was a big carry as well. And yeah, love seeing Demogryph Knights with halberds. And sure, they did get, pieced up by a little Grom, but overall, they were a threat and they forced Kislev to respect them. Now, looking at the Kislev army here, I liked it. I didn't hate it at all. I mean, the one thing about this build is if it were an open field map where cannons were, going to be brought by the Empire, cannons do counter little Grom relatively well. So you got to watch out for that. But yeah, I like the Streltsy pick. I think the Streltsy were really, really nice. Maybe the problem is if you go Streltsy early, they just kind of get tar pitted by State Troopers. But the mid-game Streltsy Colin I thought was really nice by Boss Toss. Anyways, GG, well played. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. We'll be back with some more replay soon. And that is it for tonight. Cheers.